Hi everybody. Today I'm going to have you guys do a lab with Mr. Farkas called Interpreting Data. The purpose of this lab is to get you to take a look at what happens when you take ice water, so frozen water, add heat to it to turn it all into liquid water, then add more heat to it to turn it into vapor. It's interpreting data because you're going to look at what happens to that temperature, the overall temperature of the mixture, of the solution. As it goes from close to zero, because it has ice, all the way up to 100 degrees, because it's boiling. During this transition, the hot plate is going to hover around 400 degrees Celsius probably, and I do have an infrared thermometer so we can measure that temperature without actually touching the hot plate. And the purpose of this is, again, to see what happens to the heat energy. The heat energy keeps getting transferred, but it doesn't just transfer into something you can measure, as in getting something warmer. It's also transferring into melting the ice. Melting the ice takes energy. You just can't see that energy get taken up. So the way this is going to work, every group is going to have a hot plate, a beaker, a thermometer, and some type of measuring device. You're going to measure the temperature twice per minute, so every 30 seconds you need to take a temperature measurement. You can use a timer on your phone. I have some stopwatches at the front of the class, whatever you need. We'll start out with these beakers. You're not going to fill it all the way, you're going to fill it halfway. So fill it up to the 500 mark. You should have a cooler full of ice somewhere in the lab. Fill it up, again, about 500 milliliters of ice. Fill it up the rest of the way with water from the sink. This should take you all of 3 minutes, all right? So in the end, you've got a beaker that you'll just put on top of the hot plate. The hot plate, I assume, is at 0 degrees. It's at room temperature. You will then take a thermometer. This is the kind of thermometer I want you to use because the bulb of the thermometer isn't going to be able to come into contact with the bottom of the beaker, so it's not going to come into contact with the hot plate. That means the temperature is going to take the temperature of the water, not of the hot plate. Boom. Take that temperature twice every minute, every 30 seconds. You're going to turn on the hot plate, crank it all the way up, and again, recording data every 30 seconds. You will probably have to run this for about 12 minutes. That's how long it took in my lab experiment. Might be a little longer on the data sheet, and yeah, my data sheet got wet, so you might only want to keep one data sheet in the lab area. In my data sheet, I gave you room for 2 data points per minute for 10 minutes. You're going to have to make that data table a little bit longer. It's not going to be hard for you to do. Just extend it, and that's it. When you've completed collecting data, dump your water, turn off your hot plate, unplug your hot plate to make sure this thing doesn't run overnight, and then you're going to take a look at some of the analysis questions. You're going to plot a graph of time in minutes versus temperature in degrees Celsius, and the shape of that graph should answer some of those questions. Okay? We will not do a lab report on this, but you are going to answer all of those questions on the back. They do involve a little bit of analysis. All right, thank you. On a safety note, I typically don't require safety glasses on this because it's boiling water. Culinary doesn't make kids wear goggles when they make soup, so I think we're okay with this, but I'll leave it up to Mr. Farkas. All right, thank you.